Welcome to Hurr-Ian to Florida, the podcast about a father-son do-it-yourself team heading to an RV park in Florida that was in the eye of Hurricane Ian to help out. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. I'm your host, Mitch Miller. And that's right, my father and I are headed to Florida tomorrow morning. It is Sunday, October 2nd today. Putting together the intro to this podcast. It should be 10 to 15 minute segments over the next 4 or 5 or 6 days. We should get there on Tuesday morning, hopefully, if not too many roads are shut down. And I just plan to document it. I have cameras. I'm going to take some video, take some pictures, post some videos to some of my channels, and upkeep this podcast. So the next one will be when we're actually in Florida. We're headed to Lettuce Lake RV Park in Arcadia, Florida. It was right in the eye of the storm, and there are we've gotten some pictures of some RVs that are overturned and some major damage. Luckily, my parents' RV made it fairly well through there's a couple repairs, but we think we can stay in it and help out around the park and maybe other places if we have time. So we're taking my dad's 2010 Nissan Titan, and my father-in-law has offered his enclosed box trailer. So we're taking a bunch of supplies with us, building materials and whatnot, to head down and our plan is to triage the RVs and any of the houses and stuff, just kind of seal them up for the next storm and get them sealed up and buttoned down a little bit, as well as cutting away any of the vegetation, things like that. We're taking some chainsaws. We can clear vegetation that's no longer viable and get that out of the way. So that's our plan. We're going to volunteer our time to help out down there, and we are hoping to recoup the money we've invested in materials. According to some research I think my father-in-law did, we think that FEMA will reimburse us for what we spent at Home Depot. So that's good. If that covers that, we are just looking to hopefully maybe recover some of our money for gas and meals, groceries on the way down and stuff like that. So you can donate via my website, mitchformayor.com. That's Mitch, the number 4, mayor.com. There's a donation tab there, and I want to be totally transparent with this, so I will somehow document every donation, either listing it on here or probably publishing it on the website. And on that note, I want to thank our donors so far. Tim Leary, a friend, fraternity brother, has donated. My Aunt Sandy Gravatt has donated. My dad's aunt, Betty Urcanon, donated, and I believe we're getting a donation from the Utica Presbyterian Church. So thank you to the donors that are helping out. We bought some water and stuff to give away down there because we know that the water might not be so good for a while. So I appreciate donations, but I don't blame you if you wait until we're actually down there and you hear a podcast from down there. That way you know we made it, and we are working away down there. Hopefully the mobile hotspot on my phone works. My parents don't have internet in their trailer, and we don't know what the communication situation is going to be down there. Hopefully I'll be able to upload a small audio file. That's my plan now. It'd be ideal if I can upload some videos and pictures too, but this will take precedence, this podcast. So we don't really know what we're getting into, but it should be interesting, that's for sure. And I kind of went to school for this. I have a bachelor's degree in film studies from the University of Pittsburgh, so it is kind of media related, and photojournalist kind of stuff. So this is the kind of stuff I do want to get into. But I want to talk about my skill set and my dad's skill set. I'm a little out of practice, but I grew up in a small town called Utica, Pennsylvania, and the neighbors all got together and helped put on roofs and do additions and things like that. There was one lead contractor. He was a great guy. He had 4 sons, and he'd kind of organize it. He also had a bunch of brother-in-laws and stuff like that. So we always had a crew doing something in the summers in Utica. That's kind of where I learned how to roof. When they did my dad's roof, I was young. I was 12 or 13, and I helped out a lot on that. And then my dad worked that off in trade by basically donating his labor for the rest of the summer on the other roofs that they did. So, but my dad's always had projects going at the house. He's a do-it-yourselfer before the YouTube videos and stuff like that. He was always trying to do stuff, and I was helping him. So that's kind of where I started. Then in high school, friends of mine, their dad was a contractor who did mostly roofing. So then I did mostly roofing, hauling shingles, stuff like that for a few summers in high school into college. Then in college, I had jobs, but basically I got a franchise with one of these college painting companies. I also learned to paint by a painting contractor in Franklin, who was a great guy, Jerry, and he taught me the basics of how to paint. I didn't work a real long time for him before I started the roofing stuff, but then, so back to the painting franchise in college. I had a painting franchise. We did $100,000 worth of paint work for 2 years straight each summer. Each summer doing $100,000 with 3 crews of guys, guys and ladies, and we did that. It was mostly friends that helped me out with that, and I did most of the business side of it, running to get materials, marketing, doing estimates, and I would do a fair amount of painting, but it was a lot of work to run a business of that size as a college student. Also, during college, I was in a fraternity, and we had this old fraternity house. It was kind of like Animal House. It was run down, seen a lot of parties, always needed repairs. So I would figure out how to repair stuff on that house. And this again was before YouTube, but there was the internet. It was before YouTube had a huge amount of do-it-yourself videos. Mainly you had to read how to do stuff, either on the directions of the products or there'd be step-by-step instructions on the internet. But I was kind of self-taught, kind of learned from the internet, learned by trial and error. And then in the college painting business, I would fix the soffit and fascia of the rotted wood on the exterior of buildings. I just bought some power tools, and I said, I think I can do this. So I started honing my carpentry skills doing that. And then after college, I worked at the Home Depot. So every time someone would come in and ask me a question that I didn't know the answer to, I would pull out the product and read the instructions on the back and learn how to use just about every product in there. Then I ventured off and started my own painting company, and did repairs and stuff like that. And we did we did interior, exterior painting at that point. My brother and a few other friends helped me out with that business. And then I kind of downsized after I had a personal situation. I downsized to just me and another person, or a one-man operation, and that was a little less stressful, not having to worry about keeping someone employed, and that was better. And that mainly turned into handyman stuff. So I do have skills in kind of self-taught skills in plumbing. I also bought a house, I should mention that, in 2009, and I did work on my own house. So between working at the fraternity house, working on my own house, working for fraternity brothers that bought rental properties around Pittsburgh, I figured out how to do light plumbing work, light electrical work, and carpentry, obviously, framing, stuff like that. I've done trim, drywall. Do not like doing drywall, but it's part of the job when you're a painter to kind of at least do some of the light finish work. Obviously, roofing. I've done slate roof repair, some pointing work with brick and stuff, but that's kind of amateur concrete and pointing and stuff like that. So just I've done a various amount of things that, as far as fine finishing stuff, but that's not what we're focused on this trip. We're focused on just triaging, getting tarps on things, boarding up windows, stuff like that. So that'll be a lot less stressful than not expecting the fine finish work that I used to do. But I would always tell people, when there was something I hadn't done before, I would be upfront with the homeowner and I would say, hey, I've never done this before, but I think I can do it and do a nice job. And they would, because I wouldn't charge that much, they would go for it. And that's another way I learned how to do stuff. So, but that's the plan. That's the skill set. My dad obviously learned on his own house and helping out the neighbors. So we should be able to figure out how to seal up these buildings and stuff like that. So we're headed to Florida tomorrow morning. I'll update when we get there. And thanks for joining the podcast and listening. And hopefully this is an interesting experience for you as well as a listener to hear some journalism, or at least hear my daily activities of what's going on and maybe see some pictures to follow up. So thanks for listening. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Krabby Kelly's in Utica, Pennsylvania. If you are there, stop by, have a drink. It's a bar and a general store. Get your STDs at Krabby Kelly's. That's snacks, tobacco, and drinks. Also like to thank Neon Grouse Embroidery and Screen Printing Shop. Go to neongrouse.com. They generously let me take the week off of work to head down to Florida to do this. So that's great that Nick McCall was flexible with the schedule to let me go down and help people down there. Other than that, if you'd like to sponsor or donate, like I said, donations will go towards recouping any money we spent on the trip. And what I'm going to do is, if you like me on Twitter or whatever that's called, if you follow me on Twitter, I'm going to take pictures of the gas pumps every time we get gas and post that to Twitter. I'm going to take pictures of our receipts and post that to Twitter so you can see exactly how much money we spent on the trip, and that'll pop up on Twitter so you can add it up yourself, play along at home. And like I said, totally transparent, just looking to recoup that. And any donations above and beyond that, this is interesting stuff that I would like to do, so maybe we save it and I can deploy or go to other disaster areas where it's not going to be as cheap of a trip, obviously, because I won't have free lodging, but maybe we can put it towards that. I'll put it up for vote somehow. Maybe I'll form a Facebook group for this podcast, and you can vote on how we should use any remaining monies through the thumbs up or the heart sign, something like that. So thanks for listening. Go to mitchformayor.com to follow along, to donate, and to see this podcast posted. And thanks for subscribing to the podcast. And I'll update you soon.